Welcome to the first episode of Learning Synthesis. My name's Kevin, if you don't know who I am from my channel, and today we're going to start the journey of learning synthesis. So it's just going to be mostly an introduction episode, so I'll explain to you what I do know and kind of show that to you, play it to you, and some cool new stuff that I've started to learn as I've just started to get into it. Today we will be using mainly the Nord over here, the Nord Stage 3. Has a great synth engine based on the Nord A1, and so we're going to use that because there's a lot of great control on totally shaping a synthesizer patch or sound. So yeah, let's go ahead and dive in. So I got empty patch to start off with. So let's go ahead and bring up our synth. And to start off, we can see that we're just going off of the classic whatever. I don't know what this is called, all right? I'm not a professional here. I'm learning, okay? We're going to be starting off by looking at the sine wave. So to my understanding, there's just different waveforms, and each one has a different sound because of the way it's shaped. So I wanted to look into this a little bit further, and so what I did is I found something that I want to share with you. So you can find a link to this in the description in case you want to use it as well. It's a plugin. It's a plugin for a DAW. Specifically, it's a VST plugin. So you can't use this in Logic, as I found out, but you can use it in Ableton Live. I have a light version of Ableton Live over here that you can see running and recording all this audio through. And right here is the oscilloscope. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but an oscilloscope. And what that'll do is that will actually show us live what this waveform looks like. So let's go over two things that I kind of know about, but I'm hoping in the future episodes of this we will dive into and understand further. But I'm just trying to get kind of an introduction out of the way and let you know what I know. So the two things I do know is the frequency, the filter frequency, I guess is what it's saying over here, is that affects like the fullness of the waveform. So is it super pure and full, or are you kind of filtering out some of those frequencies? I don't know, to make it sound different. The only way I can think to describe this, when I was trying to find this oscilloscope, it seems like it makes the sound smaller, the filter frequency. I don't know. Please leave a comment if you know what's happening and can explain it better than I can. I'm trying to learn this stuff. That's the point of these videos. The other thing I know about is the amp envelope. We have an attack, a decay, and sustain, and a release. Let me grab something. I forgot to grab this before I started recording. The trusty OP1. The OP1 actually has a really good way of visualizing attack and decay and sustain and release. So I'm going to pull up, let's see if, oh, perfect. All right, so as you can see, we have a random synth patch up here. But this is the attack, decay, sustain, release. So this first bit is our attack. This is our decay, sustain, and release. So essentially, when you turn on the Nord, when you turn up the release, you're doing this. So it's going to take longer before the sound completely stops and goes away. So it's like the sound starts here, the sound ends there. And then with your sustain, that's basically like how with this, the way this is visualized, it's kind of like how loud will it remain in this context. In the context of the Nord, it's more like, will it continue playing on at full volume indefinitely, also known as until you let off of the key, or will it stop playing at a certain point? But this kind of visualization, I think, is more helpful. Your decay here is your initial, like this bit here, is after the note has been played, how much will it drop off? How quickly will it drop off? So like if I pull it back all the way like this, then it's going to just be real sharp and fast. But if I like stretched it out as far as possible, then it'd be a lot more gradual. Again, in the context of the Nord, it's more about does it continue playing or does it not? So it's not quite as customizable as like a full attack, decay, sustain, and release, but it's still more than enough to work with when building a patch. And then obviously the attack here, lastly, and if it's straight up and down, it's going to be the same as us having our attack on the Nord all the way down. And when you go like this, it just starts to bring it more gradually, introduce the sound. So let's actually hear that now so that you understand a little better. So right now we have everything down and off. So this will give us the fastest attack. This will give us the fastest release. And then this will also have no decay on. So it's going to like not continue playing at all. It's just going to be, I'm going to also turn on, that you can't see, but well, actually you can if I do this. Reverb off, reverb on, tiny bit of reverb, nothing crazy, just a little bit so it's not too dry. Here's our sound. Isn't that a fantastic synth sound? I think the video's done. We're good to go. Just kidding. All right, so why does it sound like that? It sounds like that because of our decay. All right, so we turn up our decay and we're going to say, play this sound a little bit longer. Ooh. That's a nice little plucky kind of sound. But it's not really telling us what's going on with this sine waveform. So let's turn this all the way up. So you can see here, all the way up to where it says sustain. Now it will keep playing until we let go. That's wonderful. That's a great sign. It's very smooth sounding, but pretty straight to the point. The fun part gets to be if you look at the oscilloscope. Look at the oscilloscope. That's what a sine wave looks like in real time. That's coming from this. And there's two cool things to mention about this. Number one, the lower you get, the less hills and valleys you will see. So right now we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5. But as I go down, we're losing them. We're losing them. Nice. Look at that. It's just a nice horizon. We're hitting. Yeah, that's great. Oh yeah. But yeah, that's what it looks like. And the other cool thing is I started to figure out that when you adjust this filter frequency, that's when you start to see this the waveform or any waveform you're working with for a synthesizer. It really comes to life when you turn it all the way up. So I'm going to turn it all the way down now. It's at 14 hertz. All right. Nothing. You can't hear anything. That's expected. All right. Now, as I turn it up, look at that. Really takes shape. Nice. Yeah. Pretty cool. So, let's go back to, I mean, that's really straightforward, I think. The frequency, if you hear, it's kind of softening it. If you also look at the oscilloscope, you'll see, as we bring it down to about 1,000 kilohertz, it just kind of softens the sound a bit, so it's not quite as intense. And we'll just leave it there for now. I might boost it back up when we see the other waveforms in a little bit here. So to try and bring some closure to the amp envelope, if we take that attack, instead of having it like this, we start to bring some curvature in. You can hear how it wah wah. Let's bring it up a lot. 2 seconds. Pretty crazy. Bring it back down. And then here's what happens when we pull up this amp release from our filter. Ooh, we get a nice fade out because we're not telling it to, again, just go and stop like we saw in the OP1 in that little graph. Instead, well, it's technically, I guess, going this way, but we're adding curvature to it so the sound will fade away instead of just, I don't know, stop instantly. Additionally, we can turn this all the way up to 45 seconds. And I'm not going to sit here for 45 seconds with you just listening to this, but it will continue to play out. Additionally, if we take our decay and let's say, here, let's do this. Let's do something interesting. Our amp release, 505 milliseconds. So half a second. You hear that? Nice. Solid fade out. Sounds nice and round. Great. Now let's set our amp decay for 2 seconds. As close to 2 seconds as we can get. All right. Listen. Interesting. I want you to note, and I'll move my hand up a little bit so you can see, I'm pressing this note the whole time. Still holding. Still holding. Because we added the decay, it's it waits for that, it plays for 2 seconds, and then after that we get that half-second drop off. That's it. That's the decay. That's how it works. So when we get it all the way up to sustain, it's kind of like infinite decay, and that's why it continues to play until you let go. Hey, it's me from the future. I just wanted to hop in here and let you know that this is the end of the first part of this video on synthesis. Technically it's going to be a two-part for the first part, and that's really confusing, I understand. But stay tuned. You'll see the second part come up tomorrow, and that's going to start to dive into just what the sound waves sound like individually, and it should be really cool. So hope you guys appreciate it. Thanks for making it this far into the video. Go ahead and subscribe if you enjoyed this, you want to see the next part, and leave me a comment, let me know what you thought.